Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, working on our horizontal boring mill project again today, and what you see here is the saddle that rides over here on the machine that the table is on, that gives you your cross slide. Basically, it allows the work to move in both the X and Y direction on the machine. We got a set of ways on the bottom and a set of ways on the top. These ways that are up right now, this is upside down, but this rides on the ways of the machine, and then the table goes back and forth on the ways that are actually down right now. So, but what I'm working on right now is trying to kind of get ready to go back on there. And on the motion that moves the table up and down, right here in this round boss, we have a bronze nut that slides up in here. It fits up in this hole. And this is what the lead screw on the machine engages and turns in, and that's what moves the table back and forth. The lead screw turns, of course the nut stays still, but it's going to thread back and forth on that. Unfortunately, the original nut here has got excessive wear on the inside of it. This machine's over 100 years old, so it's not surprising that it's that way, but I just decided that really needed to go ahead and take care of this. So what I've got here is a piece of bronze. This is some bronze tubing, and what we need to do is make a new nut. We'll be machining the outside diameter to whatever size this is. I'll have to measure it, need to bore it out, and then we need to thread it. And the threads are Acme threads, and they're left-hand threads. And I'll have to get all my specs on that worked up, but anyway, that's what we need to do is to make those inside left-hand Acme threads and make a new nut and get this ready to go back together, back over on the mill. We're just about ready. And if you've been following along with the project, you know I had scraped in one side, I had to get the other side scraped in. I did all that, got it done off camera. I actually had a viewer and a friend, a former student in one of our Richard King scraping classes, was down here about a week or so ago, and he spent a couple of days helping me in the shop, and he helped me get this. I think we had 4 thousandths on one side and 2 thousandths on the other. We had to get it down, and it's in pretty good shape right now. I probably still need to kind of do a little bit of fine tuning on these, but for right now, I'm real happy with where we're at on getting the scraping done. But we need to get this nut done so that we can go ahead and start getting this reassembled and put back on the machine. So let's get over to the lathe and start making some chips and see if we can get a new nut made. Some quick measuring and just checking a couple of things, and I think I got a game plan on how I need to machine this blank here. So I measured it as 4 inches long, 2.5 inch outside diameter. I went and looked up what the bore size needed to be for an 1.75" 4 Acme thread, and turns out it's 1.5 inches. And I should have believed what was actually stamped right here on there. It says 1.5" by 2.5", which is the exact inside and outside diameter that it needed to be. But I confirmed all that. So over to the lathe. The first thing we're going to do is get this trued up, 4 inches long on the outside. We'll probably go ahead and cut it off the length, and then we will rechuck it up and we'll bore the inside. And once we get the inside bored, we'll turn around and thread it. So let's get over to the lathe and get to work. So I got my part sticking out a little over 4 inches, and we need to get this trued up down to 1.5 inches outside diameter. It's about 45 to 50 thousandths oversized right now. So we're just going to start by turning that down. Let's fire things up. All right, let's start by facing the front here. This is a rough saw cut, so get that cleaned up. And that looks like it got it. Come in here and touch off. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take about 30 thousandths to start with here, just to clean it up, get a good measurement, and then we can finish up on another cut to take it to final size. I'll come in here with a micrometer, get a really good measurement on this. This is going to be a very close fit. Really want it right at 1.5 inches, maybe like a thou under at the most, but I really want to hit it real good. And we are at 2 inches, 531 thousandths. Put that in my digital readout. 2.531. And I'm gonna sneak up on this. I'm gonna, I'm tempted just to dial it in and go with it, but I think I wanna really make sure I get there just right. So that should leave me about 10 thousandths, 9 thousandths or so to come back and clean up. All right, come back out again. I'm gonna get another measurement here. All right, let's say I need 12 more thou. Like I said, I'm being real careful. I'm trying to hit a really tight tolerance. So I'm sneaking up on this final measurement here rather than just dialing it in, because I want to hit it dead on. I'm probably still going to have to go back and make one more very light pass to get it to where we need to be. I'm reading 1 over. I'm just going to take a spring pass here. I'm not even going to move my cutter. And it's probably still going to just barely cut there. I'm just going to take a measurement here on this end. I don't want to go too far. We're going to let that roll. Yeah, we're measuring right on the money there. It's got just the least little bit of taper in it, but it goes from about right on the money at 2.5 down to about 4.99 right down here. So that's going to be actually right in the range I want it to be, and we're good enough. All right, I'm going to go zip this off on the saw, and we'll flip it around, face the other side, and bore it out. All right, we are over at the marble saw, and let's engage that. We'll let it cut right on through there. That soft bronze makes short work with this nice saw. There we go. All right, so first thing again, I need to face this and get it to length. And I've got where I get my calipers in here. Right now, rough cut, it's right on the 4-inch mark. This length is not critical. I'm just gonna clean it up. That's all I'm gonna do is just get it cleaned up, and we'll go from there. The length really does not serve any purpose. It'd be fine to just leave the saw mark on there, but we want it to look a little bit nicer. And I think that got it there. It did. All right. Getting ready to bore it. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is actually put this in my 4-jaw chuck indicated in, make sure it's running, no run out on the outside, just so that everything's running concentric. You know, it looked like we had a little bit of run out in there on the outside, nothing major, but I think the 4-jaw chuck's going to be the way to go. All right, guys, we got this in the 4-jaw chuck. I've got it indicated in. We're got probably a little less than 1,000 run out in there. I can live with that. Can't get it any better. So there we go. We're ready to bore this thing out and put some threads in there. All right, guys, I think we are ready to roll here. We got our part in here. I got a boring bar in here. The inside bore right now, it's a rough diameter. It's not true, but it was measuring about 1 inch, 425 thousandths. So we got about 75 thousandths to take out of there. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a light pass in there, get it cleaned up where I can get a good measurement, a good true measurement, rather than that rough hole that's in there now that's probably not even running true. And then we can go from there to hit our final number. According to the specs, it needs to be at least 1.5 inches diameter, and I think we can go up to about 1 inch, 600 thousandths, if I remember right. Really wide tolerance. We got a big gap we can hit in here, so, but I'm gonna shoot for something probably pretty close to 1.5 inches, just to get it a good, nice tight nut. Let's do her. We'll come in here and touch off on the inside, and I'm going to take about 40 thousandths. We should have around 75 total to take out, and that is cleaning up the inside of that bore. So that's kind of what I'm going for to get that initial measurement. All right, we'll let her cut. We'll be back in a minute. All right, we made through our first pass. Pull that out. And I'm gonna come in here with a inside bore micrometer to get a good measurement inside there. All right, so we are measuring here 1 inch, 400. We're just past the 50 mark and we got 5, so that'd be 55, about 55.5 thou on that right now. And again, we're going up here to the 1.5 mark, so we got 45 thousandths to take out of there. I'm going to take about another 35, 40 thou, and we'll get another measurement here and make one final pass. All right, let's get another measurement and we'll make our final pass. All right, so we're at 20 on there, and that goes to 25, so we got 5 thousandths to come out of there. And I'm gonna probably just take a little fudge more. Again, we got a pretty wide tolerance on that high end. So tell you what, I'm just gonna take 20 thou. That gives me about 15 thousandths of extra clearance in there, which I think will be perfectly fine for this application. Again, the specs have over 100 thousandths variance on what that can be. All right. I'm gonna back that bar out so I don't drag it coming out this time. Have a nice finish on that bore. And let's measure it again. There we go, and there we go. I'm 20 thousandths, or actually 17 thousandths over. All right, that's going to be perfectly fine. Right where I want to be. I think we are ready here to do our inside threading. Now I've got a threading bar back here. We've got an insert that is Acme 4-pitch. Which is just what we need. It's a left-hand threading bar. Notice I'm threading on the back. We'll be turning in reverse and feeding in, and that'll give us left-hand threads. To go along with that, I've got my compound set to 14 degrees going along. So basically it's going in at the same angle as the back side of this insert, which is what we always want to do with threading. So we're not cutting, when we feed in, we're not cutting on the back, we're only cutting on the front.
And with Acme threads, it's a 28 degrees included angle, so half of that's 14 degrees. So that's what we have the angle set to. Now, for depth of cut, the way you determine that on Acme threads is it's half of the pitch. So we know that the pitch is 4. We convert that to inches, so it'll be 1 divided by 4, 1 inch divided by 4, which is 250 thousandths. Half of that's going to be 125 thousandths. So once we touch off in there, we're going to need to cut in 125 thousandths. And I'm going to put a dial indicator up here on the lathe, and that will kind of give me a dashboard to see what's going on. In fact, let's just go ahead and kind of get it up here. I'll have to re-zero it once we get touched off, but this makes life a lot easier when you're doing this kind of stuff. So, and notice that I'm setting my indicator up so that I'm measuring how far in the feed is going. Now, normally, you know, when you're feeding in on the compound, and you're feeding it at an angle. So if you read it directly off the dial, you're reading how far you're moving in on the hypotenuse of a right triangle, and going straight in, it's not going to be quite as much. So using the indicator is going to give us a true reading on that instead of trying to use the dial. All right, we're going to get touched off and ready to go here. Theme 27. All right, guys, I've already come in here and touched off and got my 0 on the inside. We are ready to start cutting. One thing to remember, we're doing left-hand threads. We need to make sure the lathe is turning in reverse. We're cutting on the back side, so the work needs to be cutting down into the cutter. Rookie mistake is often to keep your machine running forward, and basically the work is coming up underneath and dragging on the bottom of the cutter rather than cutting across the top. All right, I think we are ready to go. I've got my lathe slowed down. I think 100 RPMs here. I think I can manage that okay. I'm going to start with about a 10 thousandths cut. And here we go. We'll back out, come out, go back to my 0, and we'll feed in another little bit and make another pass. Just rinse and repeat here. According to the dial, this is the last pass. 125,000 total depth. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple of scratch passes. When I say scratch pass, that means I'm not going to move the dial in. And we're just going to make sure we got all the flex out of that bar. It'll probably still cut a little bit. You can hear it cutting a little bit there. And we'll make another pass there too. Just to make sure we got a good, nice, clean cut. And we'll do a test fit. One more scratch pass. Yeah, I like that. All right, I think we got it. Now for the moment of truth here, guys. Let's see if this thing fits. So slides up to there. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's just what we want. And hardly any backlash in it at all. Yeah, that fits like a glove. I'm very happy with that. I think we got the threading done. We got a few more operations to finish this thing up, but got the worst of it done. Well, guys, I think we got about enough for one video here. Got a little bit more left to do to really finish this thing up. It's going to be too much to put all in one video, so we're going to make this a two-part series, and we'll come back and finish this thing out. So we've still got to put a little locating slot on the side of that and drill a hole for some oil. Then we also got to get it fitted to the actual saddle itself, including doing some reaming for a taper pin. And all that's going to be coming up very soon. But we got the internal threads all knocked out here, and everything is coming along great on this project so far. Check back with us soon. We'll finish this thing up and hopefully have this project knocked out. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Those thumbs up and comments greatly appreciated. Big thank you to all my Patreon supporters out there and other supporters of the site. Could not do everything that we do without you. Yeah, with all that, guys, we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching.